found before. Counterpunch is a radical left-wing magazine. Do you think that it's in the pay of someone?
I don't know, but I do know this. They are not dealing with the evidence. You said they commissioned an expert, but they did not look at or answer why there's several tons of nano-thermite explosives found in all of the dust samples throughout lower Manhattan. Billions of iron-rich microspheres the size of a human hair that could only have a possibility of formation in an aluminothermic reactions, thousands of them.
Popular mechanics doesn't know what it's talking about?
Popular Mechanics was, the staff of Popular Mechanics was replaced completely by members who are closely allied with government, by the way, and the NIST report, who came in to write this piece.
Say, run that past me again. They sacked everyone on Popular Mechanics and replaced them with who?
In the editing the editing section, with people who were closely allied with the Bush administration and with NIST. NIST was used. The Defense Department, the defense contractors were brought in, by the way, to NIST to guide this investigation. And it turns out, interestingly enough, that these particular individuals leading the investigation were, in fact, experts themselves in nanothermite technology. They had developed it with NIST back in the late 90s. So this is quite interesting, and they, of course, influenced highly the Popular Mechanics, and they did not even deal with the evidence for explosive demolition.
You know, it seems unlikely that tens of thousands of people involved in this tightly choreographed plot could have, as you earlier suggested, been killed. I wonder where they are.
Well, great questions. Let's get a real investigation and let the chips fall where they may.
You don't think this is all quite mad, do you?
No. Once you really look honestly, squarely at this evidence, it all adds up.
Have you ever attached yourself to any other conspiracy theories?
No. In fact, I'm a Reagan Republican. I've been a Republican for 20 years. I've never been active at all politically. This one just got underneath my skin because there's no one talking about it. I looked around. There's no other architects. 3.5 years ago, after I heard this information on the radio, David Ray Griffin, it was absolutely extraordinary. I looked at the evidence. I couldn't come to any other conclusions. I talked to the firm that I worked for, 14 architects and engineers, all thought I was nuts, like you. And after the presentation, they all agreed with me and signed my petition. We now have over 960, and soon we'll have 1,000. When do we get some reaction to these architects, many of which are extremely prominent in the U.S.?
Given your claim that I refuse to look at the evidence, do you think that I'm in the pay of someone?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. You just look honest to me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
BBC reporter looked honest to me,
But
and yet you're suggesting that she was reading a script given to her by who?
Well, that's what reporters do. They read scripts. She didn't have time to do her own. She's fed information.
But who would have written that script?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
See, that's the trouble. You come up with all this stuff to support your theory.
Yeah.
But when I ask you about it, I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
Well, let's get an investigation that has teeth, that has subpoena power like the 9/11 Commission didn't have, that's testimony taken under oath like they didn't have, where we have people who are willing to come and give testimony with immunity so that we can get some real answers here.
You said a couple of years ago, actually, that you intended to turn heads in the halls of Congress and you wanted a new investigation. Have any heads in the halls of Congress been turned?
A few, yes.
With what effect?
Well, this is... we're met with about the same level of resistance to looking at this information as we are here on the Kim Hill show. It is very difficult to look at this stuff. There's psychological barriers to re-examining what we all thought was true. We're fed a myth.
I have to admit, I'm coming clean here. I do have a psychological barrier which is high against the idea that tens of thousands of people would not say, yes, I have to tell you, I was involved.
Well, first of all, I don't think it's tens of thousands. I think it's more like hundreds. I don't know. And thank you for acknowledging the psychological barrier, because we all have it. This is extremely
It's a psychological barrier against complete irrationality.
There's no irrationality in the science-based forensic evidence.
It is
of the
inconceivable to people in this day and age, with the internet, with video cameras, with everything, that nobody would have come forward in the last 8 years to say, I did this, I planted the explosive, I pressed the button, I rigged the plane, I flew the cruise missile, whatever.
We all have problems with that. But what you do with that is you look at that and you use it to not look squarely at the evidence for explosive controlled demolition, which we have all 10 key characteristics of explosive controlled demolition in both the World Trade Center 7 and in the Twin Towers. Now, you can't say, because it's inconceivable, I'm not going to look at the evidence. But that's what you're doing, and that's what others do. And we understand that. We did that ourselves before opening our minds to the fact. You cannot argue with the evidence. The evidence is factual. So let's look at it.
So when you say you're not a conspiracy theorist, given that for what you're saying to be true, a huge conspiracy is required, why are you not a conspiracy theorist?
Because I'm an architect. I'm a technical building professional. I'm looking at the evidence. The evidence leads to the inescapable conclusion that this was some sort of an inside job. Okay?
Which would involve an incredible conspiracy.
That's right.
But you're not a conspiracy theorist.
Well, I'm an architect.
All right. I appreciate your time. Richard Gage, architect. And he's speaking in New Zealand at the moment on behalf of an organisation called Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth.